extension of my brain.
That's hilarious.
So I get to have fun with it.
Thank you. It's 5:15, time for our regular meeting. First thing we'll do is Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Huffaker, would you lead us, please?
Please rise and remove your hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Huffaker.
My pleasure.
Okay, so we have a roll call tonight, and we have everybody here, but Councilmember Rojan, and it's our process now to have a motion for excused absence. I'd entertain that.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion to excuse Councilmember Rojan as an excused absence.
Second.
Is that you, Travis?
Yeah.
We have a motion by Councilmember Huffaker and second by Councilmember Hornby to excuse Councilmember Rojan. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Great. All right, this time we have 3 minutes of public comment. We ask you to come up to the microphone and state your name and address just for the records in case we need to get back to you. So I know we have a few people here. Somebody, I think, also about the school district. Who would like to come up first? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Emily Bjork, and I just emailed you guys a copy of what I'm about to read as well. And my partner Dorothy is going to read the second half of my lengthy email that I sent to you guys, so you have a copy as well. So, like I said, my name is Emily Bjork. My husband Kevin and I have lived in the Valley for over 13 years, and we are part of a group of parents who have formed the Columbia Elementary Parent Advocate Group. We are opposing the closure of our neighborhood school, Columbia Elementary. My husband and I are the proud parents of 2 children. Ryan is 7 and he's a second grader at Columbia. And our daughter Hazel is 3. She'll be 4 in May, so we're hoping she can attend one of the district's transitional kindergarten programs this coming year. As you're all well aware, I'm sure, the Wenatchee School District is proposing to permanently close Columbia Elementary related to the significant budget deficit that they're facing right now. We have already passed the start of the 90-day public comment period, but we have yet to receive any further information in writing for the district on how they propose to distribute our children. How are families who are affected by these proposed changes supposed to be able to provide their input if the district has not communicated where they plan to send our children next year? Many people in the community have limited ability to access the internet or are familiar with the complex Wenatchee School District website, which makes it very difficult for some families to get information about how they will be affected by these decisions in the near future. Our parent group has been paying close attention to the school board meetings and the budget workshops, in which Interim Superintendent Kalahar has included a map that shows the displaced Columbia students will be divided by the boundary line of Arando. The proposal would send children to the northwest side on the northwest side of the street to Washington, and the southeast side of the street would go to Lincoln. Lincoln is projected to have over 600 students with class sizes of 28 or higher. This is significantly larger than the current average in our valley, which ranges about 22. We are very concerned about this current plan, and not only how it will affect the academic progress of the children in our valley, but how there are some significant concerns related to our perceived lack of communication and transparency by the Wenatchee School District with the city of Wenatchee. We have 6 concerns that I've highlighted tonight, and I'll hopefully get through 3 of them, and we'll see how much time I have left. First of all, I could not find any documentation for the 2023-24 school year that would indicate the Wenatchee School District requested advice from the city on its proposed safe walking routes that the children of Columbia Elementary will take if they're shifted to Lincoln and Washington. This is very concerning, as part of the road, especially Okanagan Avenue, that our child would take does not even have sidewalks on both sides of the street. There is a section approximately 2 blocks long on the east side that has no sidewalk and several barriers that would not allow children to start. Is that it? Oh, wow, that went so fast.
But you have somebody else to help finish. Okay, great.
My name is Dorothy Ferguson. I live at 1650 Concord Place in Wenatchee. I'm a grandmother of grandchildren who go to the Wenatchee School District. I'm retired, so I have a lot of time. I've been following the Wenatchee School District's plan since I started attending the board meetings in September. What I'm here to talk with you about is unsafe routes for children walking from Columbia to Lincoln. I gave you a map. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. This map is worth millions if nothing's done and the child gets hurt. So no children before. The proposal is that the Columbia children will walk across Ferry and Russell Streets. There's 6 intersections there that have no signage for schools, have no crosswalks other than painted white stripes on the road. The Wenatchee School District has failed to do a thorough analysis of the traffic along Ferry and Russell. They say children are regularly walking across thoroughfares, but they're not walking across Russell and Ferry because anyone who goes to Lincoln now is south of Russell and Ferry, and they don't have to cross Russell and Ferry. So some of these students are 5 years old. They've only been on the planet 5 years. I would not want to walk across Russell and Ferry in the morning when it's 7 o'clock and it's dark and I'm 5 years old and I'm walking by myself. Now, everyone who has kids here might say, we wouldn't let our 5-year-old walk by themselves to school, but that's us. For some families, their circumstances force them to allow their 5-year-old to walk to school by themselves. And as people of privilege, we have to realize that not everybody's in the same situation we are. So the Columbia Parents Advocacy Group is requesting that the City of Wenatchee conduct a traffic assessment to determine infrastructure needed for safe walking routes from Columbia to Lincoln and from Columbia to Washington. And we might all say, well, kids should go from Fuller, they should walk all the way down to Okanagan to cross. But how many kids might not do that? How many kids don't always follow what your parents say when they're on their own? And it would just be tragic. And also, drivers are not used to kids walking across Russell and Ferry. It's not an established route that students have been walking. There's no adequate signage. The district plans to start this next August 27th. They're not deciding on if they're going to close Columbia till May 14th officially, but they're starting the transition activities now. But their attitude is everything's fine, it's going to work out. We have great teachers, we have great buildings, kids walk to school all the time, no problem here. Okay, so we just want to let you know we have a concern that there is a problem. Emily, I'm sorry I didn't get through yours, but I apologize.
We will, each of us will read all the information you gave us, trust me. I'll reach out to Superintendent Kalahar, and I don't know in their plan, I don't know anything in their plan about if they thought about the walking safety or not and the consideration, but I'll reach out and see, because that is a concern of our citizens, so.
In the morning, I would challenge you at 7 o'clock in the morning to try crossing one of these streets that are not marked across Ferry and Russell and see how you feel.
Thank you for
Thank you
coming
very much.
regarding the safety concerns. Appreciate that. All right. Who else do we have for a 3-minute comment? Mr.
I'll
Tar?
jump up real quick. Josh Tar, business owner at American Shoe Shop at 126 North Wenatchee Avenue. Home address 946 Highland Drive, and current board chair of the Wenatchee Downtown Association. I am talking to you first wearing my WDA hat, my Wenatchee Downtown Association hat, and I just want to thank you guys for coming to the annual dinner last night. It really means so much to us to have a connection with the city this way. It means the world to us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We got to celebrate a ton of downtown businesses last night and people that have all been benefactors of the great relationship that we've fostered over the years with the city, and with just simply an attitude of gratitude that has been passed on from people like Linda Haglund to us now. So I'd also like to just give a special shout out to city employees, Rob Richards, Dave Erickson, and Jared Gardner for all their help with keeping downtown looking right. I know there's been struggles yeah, absolutely. And they have spent countless hours cleaning up after a lot of people who don't have the same respect for our community as we do. So thank you. Their efforts are seen, they're appreciated, and beyond the call of duty. It's been a rough couple of weeks for our downtown family. We've had a lot of drug-related incidents and thefts. These may or may not be on your radar, but I feel it's my duty to bring this information to be put on the record. They're unacceptable incidents that I want to be on the top of mind for yourselves and for Chief Crown, of course, as well. Last week, Firehouse Pet Store had an incident where an individual took their top off, made a huge scene in their store, and locked herself in the bathroom, and after causing that huge scene, and only came out after consuming more of whatever illegal substance she was on. There was a 10-minute response time for anyone getting down there to help them with that issue when they were only 2 blocks from the police station. 3 separate incidents happened at Arborg Sports in the last few weeks, 2 thefts, and another person that they found using drugs in one of their dressing rooms. Another business just south of downtown opened its doors last week to 2 individuals using drugs in his front doorway. Simply unacceptable stuff to be having in anywhere near where we need people to be shopping and spending time. While they're just isolated incidents, they seem to be increasing, and this doesn't make downtown Wenatchee feel like the safe, welcoming place to gather, spend money, or celebrate that it should be. We ask that there be increased patrols, development of some sort of surveillance program, and better funding for law enforcement in general in Wenatchee. Now I'm going to switch hats. I'm going to put my citizen hat on real quick, because this is really just my own personal stuff that I wanted to share with you. I'll leave it with Laura.
Yeah, so Josh, why don't you, if that doesn't have everything on it, why don't you send us a little email so then we can put, if everything's on there, so we can at least put it in the record, that'd be great. And I know last night you were telling everybody at that event last night, you were saying, hey, call Rivercom, report it. And that was a good thing. That was a good thing to bring into the moment is the right time. So,
You guys need that data.
so appreciate that. Okay, any other people with funny looking hats?
Who brought this guy?
Well, I forgot, yeah, I called him, in 2015, when I saw him, I said, oh, here's our 2 clowns, so.
Hey, Josh, sorry we missed the dinner. Len and I was over in Seattle, and so was she. We couldn't do there, but we missed it for the first time in many years, and thank you for all downtown Wenatchee does. Next year for sure. I'm Dave Harold. I am the general manager and owner and morning guy at Sunny FM, the greatest hits. And this is,
My name is Tom Irvin.
you got to get on the speaker here, young man.
Whatever.
Okay.
I speak fairly loud. I am Tom Irvin. I'm with the Wenatchee Downtown Kiwanis Club.
And we'd like to formally invite the new mayor,
Yes.
Mayor Poirier, to lead his first St. Patrick's Day parade down Orlando Street in Wenatchee. And we have indication that the scepter that the former mayor had has now been stolen from the city of Wenatchee. So we'll have Chief Crown look into that incident.
We'd like to file a police report, please.
This parade, I know this is a 3-minute commercial, almost done. Oh, we got 2 minutes. Okay. Anyway, this actual parade is 43 years old, just for you baby boomers like Chelsea. I guess you're not a baby boomer, are you? Okay. By the way, Charlie and Chelsea, congratulations and welcome to the city council. Anyway, 43 years ago in
By the way,
19...
they'll never stay on the subject, just so you guys bounce all over.
Okay. 43
You're a
years...
politician.
No. 43 years ago, it was 1981, and Jim Lynch
Yes.
started this parade along with our news director at KW3, and it's gone on for 43 years. It's fun, it's zany. The Grand Marshal has never turned up in the history of the parade, but we'll
Ever.
choose one again.
Ever.
Yeah, ever. So mainly we want to invite the city council ladies for once, and
Chief of Police.
and chief of police, which he'll be
Officer
there.
Stacy will be there.
And we've applied to the city in formal fashion, and if there's any questions, but we mainly want to have you lead the parade, Your Honor.
Quick update, so that
Yeah.
everybody knows this year it falls on a Sunday. Usually we start at 7-ish. This year we'll be starting at 5-ish. So put that on your calendars.
And that's it, 60 seconds left to go, so any
Do we
questions?
get paid for the time that we leave?
Your Honor, may I ask a question?
Please.
I think it's highly inappropriate to have any police vehicle in front of the Wenatchee Police Department. They should always be first place.
We'll talk to the mayor of East Wenatchee on that.
See what happens.
I don't know how that happened last year. It did, though, didn't it?
It did.
Okay, that will never be allowed again.
No, we won't.
Okay. Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the
you.
entertainment.
Back.
See you guys in 2 weeks.
17, put it on your calendar.
Well, that's. Any other takers for 3 minutes? Do we have anybody online? We're good, okay. 3 minutes is over for everybody, so now we'll go to our consent items.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve the agenda, vouchers, and minutes from the previous meetings, and a motion for the city council to accept the work performed by the contractor Jones Concrete LLC for the unit price concrete flat work project number SW22-05, and further authorize the city administrator to sign the final contract voucher. And finally, a motion for the city council to approve resolution number 2024-05, amending the 2024 designations of voting representatives to various community boards, councils, and organizations, and authorizing the representatives to vote on behalf of the city.
Second.
Second? Oh, we got it already.
All right, we have a motion approved by Councilmember Huffaker and second by Councilmember Cuevas to approve the agenda vouchers and minutes from previous meeting, which is to accept the work performed by the contractor Jones Concrete LLC for the unit price concrete flat work project number SW 2022-05, and further authorize the city administrator to sign the final contract voucher. Also to approve the resolution number 2024-05, amending the 2024 designations of voting representatives to various community boards, councils, and organizations, and authorize the representative to vote on the city's behalf. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're going to go to a presentation by the Link Transit.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Appreciate the time to do a little presentation and give you an update on Link Transit. My name's Nick Covey. I'm the new CEO. I took over from Richard Durock last July. I'm not new to Link. I've been here for almost 30 years. I'll be here 30 years in May. I was the finance director for many, many years and the chief of staff prior to this. And so I thought we'd go ahead and give you an update. I'm with Christina Barone. She's our planning and development manager. And she's going to talk about our Vision 2020, where we're at, and how our new service is doing. So, is there a button I push, or just? Space key. All right, you can see this is why I'm not in IT. Okay, there we go. All right, so a little background of who we are. So we have a 13-member board of directors, one of them which is sitting right here, Mr. Travis Hornby, which we're glad to be, he's on our board for the first time. He took over for Mark Kulas. Our service area is 3,660 square miles, so it's all of Chelan County and a third of Douglas County. We're the largest public transit system in the state of Washington. Our population is about 128,000. We have service 7 days a week. Sunday was new just in July of 2022, so that's a new service for us. We have we provide about 2.4 million miles per year is how many we drive. Have about 188 employees, and we feel we're a community partner with the communities we serve. We participate in the 4th of July service not only for Wenatchee, but for Rock Island, a new one for Rock Island. Halloween on the Ave, which is a picture right down there, as you see, there are a bus on the Ave with these employees, they're our employees, they volunteer to dress up, and we have, the kids walk through the bus, we make it a haunted bus, and we give candy out, so they go right out the other side. The picture in the middle is our mechanics, and they went to the Washington State Transit Association rodeo, so that they go in there and they actually have to diagnose electrical problems, brake problems, and they came in second out of state, so it was very good. First time we've been in the rodeo, the maintenance portion for years. I think, Jose, you've probably participated in the driving rodeo, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Yes. So we have also operators who provide that. All right, types of service we provide. So the big bus on the right, the fixed route, that is the big buses you see going around town all the time. The DART, which is on your right-hand side, that is, we provide the DART, which is the same day general public dial ride in Leavenworth and Chelan. They call up, they get a ride within 15, 20 minutes in those areas. Link Plus is our ADA eligibility service, and that's for anybody who qualifies for ADA and cannot ride the fixed route. TripLink and Rideshare are kind of new programs. TripLink is a service that we started providing for citizens that live outside of our service area, but they need to get into our service area. So like someone in Mansfield, and they have a friend they can't drive themselves or don't have a car, they can get a friend to drive them. We reimburse their friend the gas mileage. So much per mile, so they have so many trips they can take a month, and that gets them mobility, at least drops them off to the fixed route or takes them to their doctors or shopping appointments, which they want. Rideshare is like a van pool program, so it's up to 3 people as minimum in a van, but as long as they start in our service area, they can go up to like Grand Coulee or to Wells Dam, and it's basically taking, say, 3 or 4 cars off the road, they all fit in one vehicle, and they pay a monthly fee for that. Facilities, so this is Operation Maintenance Base. This is actually a picture of our Operation Maintenance Base. It was built in 1999, it's 10 acres. We're actually going to expand on that grassy area to the right, top right hand. We're going to build a new bus parking garage. We're in plans to do that this year. It'll be about a 41,000 square foot enclosed heated for our electric buses. Right down the street from you is our Columbia Station. It's an intermodal transfer station. We provide connections with Amtrak, Northwest Stage Lines, Wenatchee Shuttle, and taxi services. We operate out of 11 park and rides, 5 of them which we own, 6 of them which we serve out of. Our fleet, we consist of 23 battery electric buses. We have 9 more arriving next spring. We have 12 40-foot Gilligs, and they're diesel, 22 gas-powered cutaways, 24 paratransit vans, and all these vehicles are ADA equipped, which means they're low floor or have ramps so anybody can access those vehicles. We have about 18 staff cars. Wireless inductive charging. So the battery electric buses are great, except for their ranges are limited. So right now, our current buses run about 130 miles off one charge. Our routes run about 200, 225 miles for the urban routes. So we put these inductive chargers, they're in the ground. They're 300 kilowatt, and 1 minute of charging gets us about 2 additional miles. So every time they come in after a route, they can sit and charge for 2 or 3 minutes, and that helps extend the range for the full day. They're about $500,000 a piece installed. We've gotten grant funds for all of them, so it's been really good. We have one more going in East Wenatchee at our third and Rock Island Park and Ride, and there's one in Leavenworth also. Wenatchee Valley Regional Investment. So we like to invest into our region and to our partners, all the partners that we serve. Confluence Bypass, we invested about $462,000 for the EIS study. North Wenatchee Avenue, they're working on that design. We're investing into that. TREAD Pathways, I think everyone's familiar with TREAD and the pathway design. We put $100,000 into that, $50,000 this year and $50,000 next year. South Wenatchee Avenue and Malaga Highway Connectors. So that's South Wenatchee Avenue right down there at the bottom, serves Boudry Street. We built that little connector so that our buses can actually turn around. It was on the county's project list, but it was slated way down the list because they didn't have the funds, and we were able to do that. The big one we're really proud of is that picture right there, and I think probably most of you have been through it. It's the roundabout up in Leavenworth at Icicle Road and Highway 2. Link funded that 100%. We did get a partner in the city of Leavenworth. They participated in about half the engineering fees, and the Department of Transportation waived all their fees, their engineering fees, and their permitting. This was identified on the Highway 2 2020 corridor study as a high priority to fix this intersection because left-hand turns going north or going west out into the Tumwater is dangerous and there's accidents, so. And we have reconstruction of East Wenatchee Park and Ride up in Third and Rock Island. So economic impacts here, our projected total revenues for 2024 is a little over $36 million. Sales tax accounts for 76%. We're currently at 0.6%, which we just started the 0.6 this year. Federal and grants make up the bulk of the rest of it. Expenses, about $28 million. And as with every public agency, the bulk of our expenses go to wages and benefits. $12 million alone is just for wages. So that all goes back in the community to be spent back in the communities we serve. Supplies and services take up the bulk of the rest, about a little under $5 million. Our total capital budget this year is about $23 million. Projects is $20 million, and some vehicles about 2.4, which we'll get into in just a sec here. I want to talk a little bit about our sales tax initiative. So back before, in 2019, we were at 0.4%. Richard DeRock went out and he campaigned to increase our sales tax by 0.2%. So that was actually passed by the voters of Chelan and Douglas County. We received the first tenth in 2020. And at the same time, COVID hit. So everything kind of got shut down. So that made an impact on when we received the second tenth. So we pushed that back to 2024. We thought our sales tax was going to tank. It actually went up over 22% in 21. So we were getting this more money than we actually planned on. We thought it was going to go down, but it actually went up quite a bit. The other thing that happened in 2021 was the Climate Commitment Act. It's a cap and trade program the state implemented. And so that since we had so many battery electric buses, we get credits. We get carbon credits when we charge. Plus it funds transit. So when Richard went out for the sales tax, this was not even in the radar. We did not know that we'd get another $3 million on top of what the sales tax was. So we started receiving about $3 million total operating along with the sixth tenth, or the fifth tenth. So in 2024, when we're supposed to start receiving the sixth tenth, the board starts pushing back on us and saying, well, you're not meeting the needs or the demand that you said that you would do for the Vision 2020. You're not meeting those promises because we could not hire enough operators to expand. Last year in 2023, they brought up this sixth tenth again, which we're supposed to take in, start receiving in January this year. They needed to get it on the ballot in August, so they couldn't, it was too little time to get it on the ballot. So what they did is they punted it down to March of this year to revisit it. Since that time, we hired over 44 new operators, we added over 20% of new service to our system, and we're actually meeting the needs of what our Vision 2020 says. Next month, at our board meeting, we're going to be talking about that, and there's some board members that would like to get it back on the ballot to have the citizens revisit to take away our sixth tenth. Now that is really, it would be a big hit to us financially, about $5 million per year, but it is also tied to the Climate Commitment Act money. So if you take one away, you take both away. And also, on the Climate Commitment Act, there's an initiative, 2117, that will be put on the November ballot that will repeal all that. So we as a state feel like we're going to lose that funding anyway. So we're going to lose that $3 million, which we didn't plan on. But if the sales tax goes on too, we would lose that funding too, which would be devastating to our service, and we would have to reduce it quite a bit. But anyway, we will have more information. We feel pretty positive that's not going to happen. We've talked to our board members. We have a lot of support from them, and we feel that we're going to get past this and hopefully get through this once and for all. Our capital investments, that almost $23 million, the bulk of it's for a new parking garage. We're going to build that new parking garage about 41,000 square feet this year. Actually, we'll start this year and we'll hope to get it done first of next year. Local investments, we're investing into the Antioch Park and Ride, a Rock Island Park and Ride, bus stop improvements, and we have bus replacements for 4 new, purpose-built buses for Mission Ridge and Waterville. Long hills, we need a certain vehicle to pull those hills. And I think it's Christina's turn. Christina?
Well, again, Christina Barone, Planning and Development Manager with Link Transit. So we've been busy at work delivering our Vision 2020 projects. Represents about 30, a little bit more, projects over a 6-year time frame. So we started in July of 2020, goes through June of 2026. The service network, we took a really close look kind of at how our service should be provided in the community. We did a lot of survey work, talking with the public, talked with our board, had a lot of conversations with staff, did a ton of analysis, as well as just incorporating kind of general transit planning best practices, combined all those ideas together into the service network that we've been implementing. So it represents about 140,000 revenue hours. That's about a 40% increase in service from where we were prior to Vision 2020. This list is tailored to the Wenatchee area specifically. Big deal though, July of 2020 implemented Sunday service for the first time in the agency's history. A lot of people have been asking for that. I think it's been super successful in terms of actual productivity as well for us. Huge benefit to the community overall. And slowly but surely we've just been adding more and more over the past couple years. And so it's super exciting that we're at this point. And we're seeing ridership respond as well. So 2023, we actually had more than 1 million fixed route boardings for the first time since 2015. So that was a huge deal. We're super excited about that having taken place. We actually achieved that as well, a 15% growth in ridership from 2022 with only a 1% increase in revenue hours. So definitely seeing kind of strong uptake of the system. In terms of system-wide boarding, so that also would include like our Link Plus service, our DART service, some of those others that Nick talked about. We were a little more than 1.1 million overall. We're seeing a strong upward trend also. So the major service redesign, we implemented that back in July of 2022. Kind of a transit planning rule of thumb is that it takes 2 to 3 years for transit service to mature. That basically just means people figuring out it's there, figuring out it works for them, understanding how to use it, and then actually riding the bus. So I think we're seeing kind of, upward potential there and continued with that in the future. We also added a bunch of new service in January of 2024. So some of those in the urban area here, we have combined 15-minute service on Wenatchee Avenue, so we extended that for an additional hour per day. We added some earlier morning and later evening trips to the hospital on our Route 3. We added some new 30-minute service, so kind of improved frequency on a couple of routes from 60 to 30 minutes, and then added some later evening trips as well on a couple of our routes. So we're estimating as of January, we're 74% complete. There's a lot we still need to get through, but we're actually ahead of where we need to be. So as of March 2024, based on kind of the breakdown per year, we need to deliver about 17%. We're about 11% ahead of where we need to be. So that's super exciting. We're pleased to be in that position. And I think that's all we have for the formal presentation, but happy to entertain any questions.
So I'm just curious, a couple things. How long did it take you, what's your lag time on when you order buses now? I'm curious on that, then I did have a couple other things.
Yeah, it's about 2 years.
It's a 2 year,
Yeah.
2 years, so the ones you're getting delivered in spring of 2025, so you ordered it a year ago.
Yeah, 24, 23, yeah. And
So-
they're about $1 million a copy.
So then it really kind of, when you're looking at your budget of maybe three and then a 5, then 8 million, I don't know where I got that number, just somewhere on my head. If you lose that 8 million, it really puts you in a awkward
Right.
situation because you're trying to project for the future, but yet it takes 2 years to get buses.
So you're 8 million right, because we got about 5 million for sales tax and 3 million for
Okay,
the Climate Commitment Act. And so the 3 million, we really plan it'll go away. And we still can finish everything that we have left to finish for the Vision 2020. So we're in good shape that way. Things that extra things we want to do with that Vision 2020 or the Climate Commitment Act money, maybe you have to push down the road a little bit. The big thing with the Climate Commitment Act money, there was grant funds. The grant funds for the Green Transportation Grant, which is a statewide grant, is about $16 million a year currently. With the CCA money involved with it, it bumped up to $60 million. So that means a lot more people could get more vehicles, more infrastructure out of it. And they're funding alternative fuel vehicles like hydrogen and electric. When we started the electric business, we were one of the first ones out of the gate. So all this money that we got, whether it was state or federal for replacement of vehicles, no one else was applying for it because they wanted other people to be kind of the pilot programs. But now everyone's on board, so it's harder and harder to get this money. So if we lose the climate commitment money, we have to fund more of those vehicle replacements on our own. But we've built that into our cash flow. Years ago, Ron Walters, I don't know if anybody knows Ron Walters, he was a county commissioner. He says, you can afford to build this thing. Can you afford to maintain it? I want to see a 10-year sustainability plan. And so we started doing this back in the early 2000s about having 10-year sustainable service, not only for operations, but for capital replacements. And we continue to do that, and that's part of our budget presentation to the board every year. And so we feel comfortable with if they repeal the CCA money. The 6/10, that would be a bigger hit to us, and it would be a bigger hit to all the communities we serve.
What other questions do we have for him? It was a great presentation. I do have one other thing, but go ahead. Anybody else? What would you say to, if people wanted to continue this service, what would you tell the citizens of Wenatchee?
Well, like Christina said,
What could they do? What things like that? Yeah.
I'm sorry, what they.
Well, what could they do? Is there something they could reach out to people?
They
if
can
they're
reach out
concerned?
to like Travis, our council members, our board members, and let them know, call in, leave. They could come to our board meeting in March. They could write in and tell their comments. Sunday service is one of our least amount of service we provide as far as hours per day, but it's one of the most productive services we have. It is amazing how much I did not think Sunday would take off like it did. The first few weeks, it was like 600 boardings a day. I don't know what we're up around.
I think we were like about 1,200 every Sunday now.
Yeah, and it's like 8 hours a day. And it's very limited service. And so those are the things, we want to make Sunday service better, we want to make Saturday service better, and we want to expand what we're doing to all the communities. And we still have East Wenatchee to expand to, and it would just really hamper those expansions. And the big thing too is, what I don't think people understand is that we provide a lot of reverse commutes to especially Leavenworth and Chelan, because a lot of people that work up there in the hospitality industry, they can't afford to live there. So all of a sudden, they have a way to get up there. We're fare-free. We have a lot of service that starts early in the morning, goes late at night. It meets those needs. So those are the things and that is big player in the economic viability of all our communities. And so that's what people have to understand. When you pull a service like this away, it hits not only us, but other businesses also. So.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Nick. Any other?
I just want to comment, Mr. Covey, that the route that I drive in Leavenworth, I get this about 2 to 3 people a week. They mention, and it doesn't come from me, they mention that Seattle and Bellevue area, they struggle with the driver, the routes, and it's too much money what they're paying for compared to our region when it's cost-free. They're happy, they're riding their buses to their services. Just to mention that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Thank you, guys. Very much. Maybe once a year.
Yeah,
or
I'd love
once,
to.
whatever, unless there's a need at a time, it'd be good to update us. If that's something
Yeah,
you're
and
willing
you know,
to
on
do.
the sales tax, one last quick comment on this is I really feel we have the board members that support us. I really do. So I think this, hopefully we'll get past this. It'll be a done deal. We can move past it. We won't have to revisit this again. That's our goal. So
But you'll revisit us.
we will revisit you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll move on to action items, and we have our project engineer. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Nicole Brockwell, Project Engineer with our Public Works Department. And I'm here today to discuss with you guys our North Wenatchee Avenue Corridor Improvements Project and to request a motion that the City Council authorize our city administrator to negotiate a contract with the firms Jacobs for design services for the project and further authorize us to sign a contract with them and, of course, pending WashDOT concurrence. So just a little bit about kind of that process so far with Jacobs before we get into the presentation we have here. But we put a request for qualifications out back in October, and we received 3 proposals from Jacobs, KPG Somis, and Ardora. We took all 3 firms and we moved them into an interview process. And through that process, Jacobs was determined to be the most qualified to deliver design services for this project. The draft scope of work and fee for those services were included in your agenda report. Happy to answer any questions you guys might have about those documents if you'd like. But aside from that, another big part of why we're in front of you today is we wanted to put together a brief presentation on the project to give you just an overview overview of everything about it, focus in on some of the improvements that are proposed with it, as well as just kind of give you an update on some of the history and all of the planning efforts that have happened over the last several years in regards to it. So with that, spacebar. So a little bit about the project. So the North Wenatchee Avenue Corridor Improvements Project is a safety and mobility improvement project. Primary goals are to improve vehicle and multimodal safety, reduce peak hour congestion, and to continue implementing place-making urban design elements along North Wenatchee Avenue. So in terms of that, I'd turn you to our McKittrick Street project, which is still currently ongoing, but a lot of those urban improvements that we're doing in terms of wider sidewalks, those nice landscape buffer areas, those are the same type of improvements we'll be looking to incorporate here. Some other things about the project, as you can see from the graphic here, it is one of the many projects that make up the 11-mile Apple Capital Loop. So the funding for this project was considered a match to the infra-funded Confluence Parkway. In terms of its funding, it is entirely state funded by the Connecting Washington program. That is a program that was implemented in 2016 and funded primarily by a statewide gas tax increase. And so this project is considered a very specific line item underneath that legislation. One thing I'd like to mention is, so with that funding source, the project was initially slated to be delivered by WashDOT, it's North Central region here locally, but just given how integral and central this corridor is to our community, WashDOT and the city both collectively agreed it'd be best to be delivered by us. So just kind of some project history. So from when the funding for the project occurred through the Connecting Washington program, one of the first items that happens with the project was the city with WashDOT championed a preliminary engineering summary report to develop what we call our master plan for North Wenatchee Avenue. And as part of that effort was to focus on identifying and prioritizing future projects along this corridor and to really focus in on the funding that was available through the program and how we could best maximize it for the first project, but also keeping in mind holistically what needed to happen along the corridor long term. So a big part of that was, so a big part of that initial study was significant public outreach and business outreach. And so back in the 2018-2019 period, there was a number of property owner meetings, online open houses, surveys, and community meetings that were done in hopes to better understand the interests of the people in our community in terms of the existing corridor and how best to involve the community members throughout the design of the project. These meetings were held in person at the time. They did include display boards. You can kind of see a picture there on the bottom left. I believe that was taken at WashDOT back in the fall of 2018, and that was specifically the business-focused outreach. But that outreach in combination with coordination with our stakeholders yielded a key project goal, and it's up here, but I'll read it aloud because it's something that has continued to shape the project and something that'll continue moving forward. The goal is to create a new look and feel for the North Wenatchee Avenue corridor that creates a distinct character through roadway pavement, driveway treatments, crosswalk treatments, site furnishings, lighting, branding elements, landscape urban design features. So something that is very much being kept in mind as we move forward. So from 2019 to here, some additional things that happened. So the project at that time was in WashDOT's hand, and it was kind of effectively put on hold through COVID. And then during that time period, some other things happened. We secured funding for Confluence Parkway. We also saw a huge escalation in construction prices. So the city of Wenatchee, in partnership with a lot of our agency stakeholders, Link Transit being one, I think they've left, but Link Transit, the Chelan Douglas Transportation Council, as well as WashDOT, got back together to update that initial study from 2019 and to relook at the traffic analysis with Confluence Parkway in mind, as well as take another look at our regional mobility needs and just redefining the phasing of the improvements and the scope of what the Connecting Washington program would fund with that price escalation in mind. So just in front of you here is kind of a graphic just of those phases, proposed phases for the corridor. The phase we'll be focusing on for this project is in the middle, but the secondary phases would be everything just a little bit north of Holly Street, and then the final phase, everything north of Horse Lake to the Wenatchee River bridges. So again, highlighting the middle section here. So this is the work we'll be doing as part of our proposed North Wenatchee Avenue Corridor Improvements Project. It totals at $17 million, which includes the design costs, right-of-way, and construction. And again, this is 100% state funded. There's no local match. So the next several slides will just be kind of an overview of the proposed scope of these improvements. would like to note what you see in front of you is conceptual. As we launch into the design efforts, one thing I'd like to note, just as we move forward, a big component of the design is going to be the continued business and community outreach. And something that, as we've brought on Jacobs, was a key criteria in our selection of them, understanding that we'll be working really closely with the community as far as what the impacts for these improvements look like both during construction and after, and making sure we're incorporating any considerations or feedback we need to minimize those impacts as much as possible. So just kind of talking through them. So a big primary component of these improvements is we'll be looking to construct a raised median restricting left turns on and off Wenatchee Avenue. And in lieu of that restriction of left turns, implementing U-turns. So a U-turn at Maiden Lane, as well as a mid-block U-turn, as you can see there between Harbor Freight and Discount Tire, and we have some zoomed in views on some later slides. The project will also include pedestrian and transit improvements at Maiden Lane, as well as widened sidewalk and a landscape buffer along Wenatchee Avenue. I'd really point you guys to our McKittrick Street project, which we're implementing all of the very same features, and so we will look just to really continue that north through the corridor. Next slide is just a cross-section, just kind of highlighting some of those improvements we've talked about and just another visual of it. Again, very similar cross-section to what we're constructing currently at McKittrick Street. This view focuses in on the mid-block crossing. So currently between Holly Street and Maiden Lane, it's about a little over a third of a mile. So there is no protected pedestrian crossing in that distance. For folks that have been out at Easy's enjoying a burger, if you've been at Discount Tire sitting for a period of time, you've probably seen people attempt to cross in that area. So this will offer a break in that really large pedestrian gap. Another benefit to this is by restricting the left turns and accommodating business access through U-turns, we're also going to be able to increase the storage for left turns for folks turning left up Maiden Lane. Something that's not on a slide here, but I do want to mention is also part of the project. So outside these physical improvements in this kind of phase 1A area we've highlighted, another component of the project is intelligent traffic systems updates. And so part of our scope is to look at signal connectivity all the way from Mission Street north through Horse Lake, and to look at ways of optimizing signal timing and if we can synchronize them together to maximize vehicle output as well as control vehicle speeds. Focusing in here just on the Maiden Lane intersection. So you can see there, we've got our northbound U-turn, as well as this project will include a bus pullout and queue jump for Link Transit, which you can see there on the north side of the intersection serving southbound traffic. This configuration will also allow us to retain access to Marson and Marson on the south side there. In terms of a project schedule, so we're looking to launch into our design phase for the project, of which we'd see continuing through 24 and 25, with right-of-way acquisition through 26 and construction in 27, with the facility fully open to the public in 2028. I know that was a lot, so happy to answer any questions you might have about the project or what we've done so far, or answer any questions or concerns.
It's good that we get these packets quite a few days ahead of time so we can go through it. So that was a great presentation.
Thank you.
I might mention that we also got it in finance on Tuesday and opportunity to answer a lot of questions, so we appreciate that.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the city council to authorize the city administrator to negotiate with Jacobs for design services for the North Wenatchee Avenue Corridor Improvement Project, city project number 2323, and authorize the city administrator to sign a contract on behalf of the city of Wenatchee pending WashDOT accordance.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hornby and second by Councilmember Atkinson to authorize the city administrator to negotiate with Jacobs for design services for the North Wenatchee Avenue Corridor Improvement Project, city project number 2323, and authorize the city administrator to sign a contract on behalf of the city of Wenatchee pending Washington State Department of Transportation concurrence. Any discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
All's opposed? Motion pass. Yeah, thanks again, Nicole. That was a great
Glad to see it's back.
way to compact it in. Yeah. Hi, Dave.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Dave Erickson, Parks and Recreation Director for the city. This evening, I'm going to be requesting to accept the bid from JM Pacific Construction for the Pasquosa Plaza project. And I'll give you a little bit of the background on the project and history for the new folks, and answer any questions you might have at the end of this. So the circle this is Memorial Park, aerial photo of that, and the circle on the map there, that's where the project will be happening. So it's right at the confluence of all the walkways. The project actually started all the way back in 2015. Hard to believe it's been that long ago, but we did a master plan process for Memorial Park, and one of those items that came out of it was to do a project that recognized the Wenatchee tribe. You know, not only their important history in Wenatchee, but that they're still here and still doing things. So had some very preliminary concepts, back then. And the project actually didn't move ahead very much because we did have other projects in the queue until 2021. And in end of 21, it was included in the 2022 budget, and we kind of mentioned the goals there. We went through the process to select a design team in 2022. We selected the designers. We asked for all this input, public input, involvement of the tribes. They came up with a preliminary design, and they kind of failed to involve anybody, and so we ended up releasing them from their contract. We reached out then at that point to the Colville tribe and said, tell us what you would like to see. We did some additional research. We talked to Apple Blossom to make sure that whatever we were planning wasn't going to impact their event as well in the park. From that, then staff actually created the concept for it, for this installation, and there's 4 primary elements. So let's see, no, it doesn't show there. So the 4 elements are 3 sculptures. So there's a sculpture in the center of this circular plaza. The center sculpture would be Chief Harmelt, who is the last tribe chief of the Wenatchee tribe, and his horse Kumayakin, kind of representing the past, and you'll see some pictures of that here in a minute. Also then a mother and a daughter sculpture to kind of represent the future. So this is the tribe moving off into the future. And then we have interpretive signs that will have also information about the tribe, what they're doing now, why they're still here, as well as some of the legends of the past. And those will go in raised planters around the exterior of the plaza, which is actually shaped like a basket, which is really important in the Wenatchee tribal culture. So we came up with the design. We presented it to the Colville folks and the Wenatchee Advisory Group. Really enthusiastic about it, very excited about it. And on your screen, you can kind of see a couple of the concepts for the interpretive signs. So we'll carry those forward. So then jumping ahead to 2023, we reached out, found some sculptors that actually do work in the style that we were hoping for the plaza, or for the installation itself. So maybe hard to see, but on the left-hand side of your screen, last summer we spent a few days with artist Kevin Patel. You've probably seen some of his sculptures in town. He's a bronze sculptor. Did Guppo out in front of the YMCA, the Bigfoot down on the Loop Trail. And so that's going to be the mother and daughter sculpture. So we actually found a model who is a Wenatchee tribal member, Jordan Lucky, and we spent a full day doing nothing but videoing her and her daughter and scanning her with body scanners and stuff to get that sculpture. That sculpture right now is just moving from the 10-inch maquette up to the 20-inch, and they'll take the 20-inch once we get that the pose correct. That'll then be used to make the 5-foot bronze sculpture coming up next. And so Kevin's going to meet with me, I think next week. We're hoping to get together to review the poses and everything. The center sculptures, or center photos there, that's Judd Turner, who's a sculptor out of Oregon. And he's doing the Chief Harmelt sculpture and Kumayakin. Kumayakin's the horse. And it's a found object sculpture. So we did an event one day where people from the valley could donate things for this sculpture, and they did. They brought in various mementos, and he then took and molded it and turned it into this horse. So you can kind of see on the lower right-hand picture, the one with the license plate, there's a salmon. So he made a salmon out of that. Above that is Sparrowhawk, which is another character from the legends, from the stories. So he's incorporated all of these elements from the stories into that sculpture to help tie it all together. One of the really cool things is that one of the people that donated an item was a horseshoe, a couple horseshoes. And they actually came from Chief Harmelt's former property. So he lived there. These people bought the property after he passed away and found horseshoes and other artifacts on there. And so around the eye of the horse are the horseshoes from his actual horse. And so we reached out to the Colville tribe to see, hey, should these go to the museum? Where should they go? And they thought it was very appropriate that they ended up in the sculpture here that was sort of honoring him. And then the last one, Wenatchee tribal member Swede Albert is working on there's going to be artwork holding up the interpretive signs. And so just started that work, some of the concept art that he's working on to do that. So that'll be animals that are contained within the stories on the signs. And so that'll go around the outside of the plaza. So then also in 2023, we went through and did the engineering of the plaza itself. Got that all done, sent it out to bid last August, sent it to 591 contractors, advertised it, got 0 bids, which was a little disappointing. So we rebudgeted for it this year. It's in the budget, and we went out again in bid, and that brings us finally back around to this agenda item. So went out, did the small works roster solicitation, sent it to 624 contractors, advertised it. We got 2 bids. Fortunately, one bid was below our budget, which was awesome. So for the plaza portion of the project, the budget is $235,000. The engineer's estimate was $234,000, and the bid came in at $223,000. So we reviewed this at the Finance Committee on the 6th. If you approve the agreement this evening, construction would start July 1st. We chose July 1st because that avoids Apple Blossom, it avoids the Pride Fest, and other park events. So that gives us from July to October to get it done. And the total project, all the sculptures, all that good stuff should be installed October 13th of 2025 for a nice celebration. We're working with a Wenatchee advisory group in Colville's to make it a big celebration and event. So with that, I'll try to answer any questions you might have.
No questions, it's a great project. Glad you brought it back again from being on the cold slab.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's been really well supported. The Wenatchee Advisory Group, very excited about it. Colville's very excited about it. It's been positive all the way around. So it's so far a really positive project, which is nice.
It's excellent.
The artwork is beautiful. I love that everything is so intentional. I can tell you guys really took your time and did your homework, and everything is being done beautifully, it seems. So thank you for sharing. Great job.
I'm sorry, I have to ask about protection of this. Are we going to put in some new camera systems in the area, make it very obvious that it's all monitored? How are we going to protect it?
Yeah, so we have park cameras in that park currently, and they're actually on this picture. They're actually on that light pole, which is that circle with the little sun off of it. So it's
That's
a
what I was
camera right
thinking.
above it. Yeah, so that'll be helpful.
And that gives enough coverage for all angles and all aspects of the
Of the
design.
installation, yeah, we'll be right on top of it. And the materials that we've selected for this, we try to make it as vandal-proof as we can.
Thanks, Dave.
Sure.
Long process, but that'll be exciting. October 2025, is that what you said?
October 13th of 2025,
25.
that's Indigenous Peoples' Day.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're
Perfect.
Great.
trying to do an event around that.
Perfect. Nice.
We're on, I'll make a motion for city council to accept the bid from JM Pacific Construction, Inc. in the amount of $223,581.83 for the Pasquasa Plaza project and authorize the city administrator to sign the standard city project agreement.
Here a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Huffaker and second by Councilmember Ewer for City Council to accept the bid from JM Pacific Construction Incorporated in the amount of $223,581.80 for the Pasquasa Plaza project and authorize the city administrator to sign the standard city project agreement. Any discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion pass. Hey, thanks a lot. That's great. I know you have a lot on your plate, and this is something you had been doing for quite a while, so, yeah. It's nice to see it. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Mayor and City Council, I'm Mike Hodgson. I'm the wastewater treatment plant supervisor for the city. I'm here to request a motion to amend the contract to Norvid Sewer Services LLC and sign change order number 2 and roughly $22,000. I'm kind of winging this. The project overview. The treatment plant was originally built in 1957, and 4 of those pumps were in service up until 2009. 2 were replaced then, and 2 remained in service until recently. The city procured the 2 additional pumps for replacement. I want to say in 21, finally got them in 23 to install late 23, early 24. Talking to the manufacturer of these pumps, they're the oldest Fairbanks Morris pumps in America at that time for a wastewater treatment plant, which are actually physically failing. They were leaking. So we hired Norvid on a contract for $146,000, I believe 500, and we took the opportunity to have them do some additional work of the $22,000. It was just a great opportunity. We had to do work at night with low flows to the plant. As you guys are probably well aware of, our staff was a little bit overwhelmed at the time with some other projects at the plant, so we took advantage of the contractor to do it. While they were there, the systems were shut down, the plant was being bypassed. This is fully funded through the wastewater treatment plant repairs and maintenance budget for 2024. That's all I got, guys.
No.
I don't have any fancy slides or anything, which is kind of on purpose, as I said in the committee meeting, to encourage you guys to actually visit the treatment plant.
No, it's pretty self-explanatory.
It is.
Your Honor, I'll move for City Council to approve Amendment Number 2 to the construction contract with Nordvin Sewer Service LLC and further authorize the city administrator to sign the construction change order.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Harold and second by Councilmember Hornby for the City Council to approve Amendment Number 2 to the construction contract with Norvid Sewer Services LLC and further authorize the city administrator to sign the construction change order. Any discussion, comments?
Any questions, man
Any questions?
and ladies?
Appreciate everybody's hard work.
Thank you. Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion pass.
Thank you.
Unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks. Jessica Shaw, Public Works Director. Thank you. I said it for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, you don't have to say who you are.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mayor. Yes. Good evening, everyone. Happy to be here tonight. I have the next 2 agenda items for you. Both are in regards to our regional water system, which, as some of you may know, is the city of Wenatchee, East Wenatchee Water District, and the Chelan County PUD. And we work together to provide water to all of the valley. And so tonight, one of the first items here is a mitigated permit deposit agreement with Crown Columbia Water Resources. This is a new agreement. We first had an agreement in 2016 with Crown Columbia to allow them to utilize some of our water rights that we weren't using. And so this was a way for the regional water to make some revenue on an asset that wasn't being used yet. So we had to wait a while to find someone to use the water. We actually didn't find anyone until about 2020 and was able to finally get that water being used in 2021. So at that time, we began to receive some revenue from that water being put to use for irrigation for agricultural lands. So one of the issues that we ran into was that some of the paperwork, every year we had to do a new mitigation temporary change application with the Department of Ecology. And so recently, Crown Columbia Water Resources and the attorneys of Ogden Murphy Wallace that represent regional have come up with a new approach And this would be a longer-term agreement that we would negotiate with the Department of Ecology. It would work in the same way. We would still receive revenue each year for the use of our water right. The one change would be that in the past, Crown Columbia paid for our legal services, and Crown Columbia has now said those kind of exceeded what they expected them to be. They're roughly about $10,000 a year. And so the Regional Water Group has proposed that we would pay those, though hopefully those legal costs will be less because we'll negotiate one agreement that will run through 2032. So probably the legal costs are mostly related to that every year we were having to renegotiate another temporary change application. So this is a new agreement. The cost is roughly the same. It's about $200,000 a year would be the payment for the use of the water right. But there would be no escalator on that. It would just be fixed at about $197,000. So that's kind of a high-level overview of what this permit would look like compared to where we've been in the past. And so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just out of curiosity, why isn't there an escalator clause?
It was just part of the negotiations.
Okay.
And so we had talked a lot, the regional partners talked a lot with our attorney and decided that, you know, sometimes it's hard to find somebody to use your water, and it was a fair rate. And so it's, you know, it's a bit of a negotiation, right? So
I get it.
That was why we ended up with no escalator.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question.
And maybe you already said this, but, and in no way we're jeopardizing our future rights for controlling this, correct?
Correct. Ecology calls this having the water right in trust, meaning it's protected from being taken away from us even though we're not using it. And so that is, the regional water group is very serious about not jeopardizing this water right. This is a future water right for our community as it grows. And so that is, above everything else, our number one priority.
Is there any sense when that is projected to be needed? I mean, I see you have a 2-year notice in here. If you needed it before the 10 years were up.
Yeah, I don't think we'll need it in the next 10 years. We have sufficient water rights now, so I think it seems fair that we could continue to let that water right be leased for a while.
And then one other question, the limit of 15,000, and you don't think you're going to hit that, but if you did hit it, you can choose to go ahead and.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we anticipate most of the legal fees will be this year if we're
Right.
able to negotiate this agreement with Ecology. And so it's, once we get things up and running, if we're able to successfully get that agreement, then it should be pretty smooth sailing after that and much less fees.
For our new council members, can you tell us how we ended up with this water right? Because this is something that we didn't used to have.
Yes, great question. So we call this our Pioneer Water Right. So this water right was actually purchased from the Pioneer Water users. They made some improvements and didn't need as much water. And so the city, or actually the regional water group, had the opportunity to purchase this water right. And it was quite a large water right. I think it's like 2,700 acre feet. So it's a very big asset for the city and for the regional water group to be able to have this water right.
It's been a wonderful deal for us.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the City Council to approve the mitigation permit deposit agreement between Crown Columbia Water Resources, LLC, and the Regional Water System, and authorize the City Administrator's signature.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Huffaker and second by Councilmember Harold for the City Council to approve the mitigated permit deposit agreement between Crown Columbia Water Resources, LLC, and the Regional Water System, and authorize the City Administrator's signature. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. And, oh, you already said that. You get to stay.
I'm here again. Thank you very much. So the second is also related to our regional water. This is an amendment to an agreement we have with Stantec. The regional group selected them last fall to help support regional water as we work through the design and development of Confluence Parkway. The reason for that is the regional water main. We have a 30-inch water main that goes right along the same path as Confluence Parkway. So this was meant to help provide support and technical support for the regional water group as we make decisions. One of those decisions is, are we going to add another water line to the bridge? We're still looking through that as an option, and so Stantec is providing that technical support and reviewing what our options are. So this amendment would add some additional funds since we've utilized all the funds that we originally had in the agreement last fall. And this is budgeted out of the regional water budget under our professional services for 2024. So happy to answer any questions about the amendment.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the city council to approve amendment number 2 to the regional water technical support for Confluence Parkway agreement with Stantec Consulting Services, Inc., and authorize the city administrator's signature.
Second.
Yeah, motion by Councilmember Atkinson and second by Councilmember Hornby for city council to approve amendment number 2 to the regional water technical support for Confluence Parkway agreement with the Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated, and to authorize the city's administrator's signature. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I know you've been
Thank
working
you.
on that.
Thank you.
I know you've been working on this agreement for quite a while, going back and forth. And you and I think Rob Javerman, and so it's a great, I've talked about the prior one, but it's a nice opportunity for us to get 200,000 every year and know that we can get it back, and it's something that we would have just lost anyway, so.
Yeah.
It is a win for all of us. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senior engineer. I won't say your name, so I'll make you say it.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Councilors. I'm Jeremy Hoover, Senior Utility Engineer for the City of Wenatchee. I'm here tonight to talk to you about the blower building improvement project at the wastewater treatment plant. As some of you may know, the treatment plant has some aeration basins. They're fed by currently 3 large high horsepower blowers. 2 of them are currently non-functional. Right now we're running on 1. The plan for the project is to replace these 3 blowers with newer and more appropriate capacity sized blowers. The project was awarded last year. The work that is associated with it is going to include programming to integrate the controls of the new system with the existing plant operations, our SCADA systems. The programming is an additional piece of work that we're wanting to have RH2 perform. They have given us a proposal for that work, which is a total of $59,000, $59,037. This was put in front of Finance Committee on Tuesday. The work will be performed in conjunction with the actual replacement work, which is being done by Apollo. The contract for services, I'm requesting authorization for the mayor to negotiate with RH2 and authorize the city administrator to sign the contract on behalf of the city.
And Jeremy, as I recall, this is the one that's actually going to save energy with these new blowers, so.
Significant energy savings as well as cost savings. We're partnered with the PUD to get a rebate for the amount of energy that we're not going to be using. Be significant cost savings as well as improved functionality at the plant.
Jeremy, I had to read it twice that you were only asking for $59,000. I thought there were some zeros missing in there, but I appreciate a $59,000 request.
We'll add some zeros next time, I promise.
No need, no need. With that being said, Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the city council to negotiate with RH2 Engineering for SCADA programming services for the wastewater treatment plant blower building improvements, project number 2106, and further authorize the city administrator to sign a contract on behalf of the city. Staff further recommends the city council authorize an amendment to the project budget as detailed below.
Second.
We have a motion by City Council Member Hornby and second by Council Member Ewer to negotiate with RH2 Engineering for SCADA programming services for the wastewater treatment plant blower building improvements, project number 2106, and further authorize the city administrator to sign a contract on behalf of the city. Staff further recommends the city council authorize an amendment to the project budget as detailed below. Any more discussion?
Your Honor, Councilmember Atkinson just pointed out that there's actually an error in here.
Okay.
The motion is for the city council to negotiate with RH2. I don't think we're gonna be doing the negotiating.
The agenda report says authorize the mayor to negotiate. That may very well have been a mistake when I put the item in for inclusion on the agenda. My apologies on that one, but under the action requested, it does ask for the authorization for the mayor to negotiate.
We'll stand down.
So do we need to read it correctly with mayor instead of city council?
So technically with Robert's Rules of Order, there needs to be a motion to amend the motion that's on the floor, and then the motion to amend needs to have a second. You vote on that motion to amend, and then the new motion is then before city council.
So you want a motion to amend?
Yeah, so I would also say that last sentence on the requested action that's on the agenda is actually not a true motion, and there's nothing detailed below.
True.
But we could correct that at the same time with a motion to amend.
I make a motion to amend?
Yes.
All that?
The motion needs to say amend for the mayor to negotiate
Correct,
and read the whole thing.
correct.
That's correct.
Yeah, you do the motion to amend, where the new motion would be the motion for the mayor to negotiate, et cetera. And then you guys vote on that motion. The motion to amend,
all right.
that passes, then you go back, and the amended motion is before the floor.
Okay. All right, so I will make a motion to amend the current motion to change the wording to a motion for the mayor to negotiate with RH2 Engineering for SCADA programming services for the wastewater treatment plant, blower building improvements, project number 2106, and further authorize the city administrator to sign a contract on behalf of the city.
Second.
Second.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just a little slow on
Oh,
this.
okay.
So we have a motion to amend the current motion for the mayor to negotiate with RH2 Engineering for SCADA programming services for the wastewater treatment plant blower building improvements, project number 2106, and further authorize the city administrator to sign a contract on behalf of the city. Staff recommends the city council authorize on amendment. Or stop.
Yep.
Got it. All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. And now what do we have to do? Go back to the original.
Now that,
On the amended motion.
the amended
Yeah, now
motion.
you vote on the
We've
amended
amended
motion.
it, now we need to vote it in.
So we just need,
So currently, the motion before the floor is the motion for the mayor to negotiate the RH2 engineering. So that's the motion that needs to be voted on now.
So we just need to vote.
okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
only other thing I would point out is the last sentence on the action requested, which is on the agenda. You can convert that to a motion for city council to authorize an amendment to the project budget as detailed in the agenda report.
I'm sorry? Small budget adjustment, yes. Yes, yes. It is in the agenda packet.
so we need a motion.
So I'll try.
Okay,
I'll make a
thanks.
motion that the city council authorize an amendment to the project budget as detailed in the packet to the council.
Second.
Say it again.
Yeah, I don't have it. Did you write it down? I don't remember. I have, you got it?
Recommend the city council to authorize, shown in the packet.
We have a motion by Councilmember Atkinson and second by Councilmember Hornby. Recommends the city council to authorize amendment to the project budget as detailed in agreement packet,
Agenda packet.
in the agenda packet.
As detailed.
Any discussion?
All good?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Well, that's a lot of fun.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thanks, Danielle, for helping us out.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
It's good that you actually caught it. It would have been.
Good catch.
Good catch, yeah.
I should have read it first. I just grabbed it and started reading.
Well, I mean, we all kind of just, I mean, you get so used to language, you just don't pay attention, so.
All right, we'll go on to, I think that was it for action items. We'll go mayor's report. I'll just have a couple things. As Josh Tar mentioned, the Downtown Association, that was an enjoyable evening and it was nice. Jose, Councilmember Cuevas for going. It was really a positive feedback and it's a learning experience as we go realizing our Downtown Association and how it's going to evolve and see future. And that was impressive. So that was a great thing. Also, last week we had the State of the Cities here in the chamber. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for coordinating that and Mayor Crawford attending that. All the seats were full with a line in the back. So that was an enjoyable time. Don't forget our next meeting is March 7th. We're scheduling it from the 14th so we can make it to an event that night. And that's really all I have. I'm not sure. Oh, I saw something from Linda, unless she would, I don't know, she might not give herself some credit. There was something I got. Linda asked for you to be on a committee.
Oh, the legislative.
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll start with you on, what was that about?
Well, we haven't had our first meeting yet, so we won't do that until May, but the Association of Washington Cities asked me to serve as a representative for District 3 on the Legislative Policy Committee. And we will be setting up our policies and what we want AWC to work on for the legislative session in 2025. So if you have ideas, I would really love to hear them. And it's an opportunity for us to have a voice on what they're working on.
I got the letter. That was nice. That's a compliment to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really enjoy being involved in that organization. I've learned a lot from it. And I would encourage Chelsea and Charlie to get involved as well. It really is beneficial to you.
Anything else, Linda?
Massawa is currently working on everything for their visit during Apple Blossom or the board is, and I will be coordinating and catering the dinner the welcome dinner on Wednesday night, so I want to invite you all to be there. It's always a lot of fun, and this will be their, they'll have lunch in Kashmir on their way in, but this will be their first event. Should be a lot of fun. Homeless Task Force will not meet again until April, but we have some things coming up. And providing the board, the task force approves it, they'll be coming to council for approval, so. And I would like to talk to you for about 5 minutes afterwards.
Perfect. Who else? What have you guys been up to?
I mentioned that Brenda Blanchfield was retiring, so I actually made it to her retirement party today after after 30 years, she is done. And I met her replacement, Mr. Chris Perry. He seems like a great guy. He's actually been a project manager for Chelan County for a while. So he's already got lots of experience under his belt, and he's hitting the ground running. So be a good guy to work with.
I attended the Chelan Douglas Homeless Housing Task Force Strategic Planning meeting yesterday. It was very, I think, constructive. It was a 5-hour endeavor with elected officials, service providers, and folks that are on that committee. So, yeah, it was, I think, a lot of good ideas.
Welcome to the council.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's actually, I'm sure you learned a lot.
I did.
Anybody else? Well, thanks. I hope everybody has a great day, rest of the day, and tomorrow and this weekend. Meeting adjourned.